Go. Ready, set, go.
As Gandhi once stated, the earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. Unfortunately, our nation's current food production and distribution methods have left millions of Americans without access to fresh, healthy, organic, and affordable food. Fortunately, we can all be farmers, and we can address this issue together through joint communal efforts by simply reclaiming and redefining farming.
Together, we need to take control of our own food production and reduce our dependence on large-scale commercial farms. We can do this by supporting, promoting, and establishing the growth and development of small-scale urban farms in low-income regions to help feed our neighbors affordable organic food.
The title of our presentation is Let's Reclaim Farming, and we believe that we are all farmers. My name is Arthur, this is Rebecca, this is Sean, and this is Bree. And together we believe that we are all farmers. In the interest of time, we're going to be talking about food deserts and California's poor food production methods, as well as water conservation. Then afterwards, we're going to talk about multiple yet simple, innovative farming techniques that will help you become a farmer. And finally, we will also talk about organizations that we have aligned ourselves with so you guys can get involved.
With that being said, we are concerned by the lack of justice and are passionate about ensuring access to those in need. And we really encourage you to take this information to spread awareness, take initiative, and challenge the current oppressive standards. First up, we have Arthur, who will talk about food deserts.
Thank you, Bree. Food deserts are where there's a lack of fruits, vegetables, and whole foods in places across the globe. And these food deserts are pretty much economic. With high production costs, there are higher market costs. And a ramification of these food deserts comes from the fact that the places where they sell organic food, they choose not to go to these low-income areas. They choose to go to high-income areas where they can sell their organic foods, and not into those low-income areas where they don't sell the organic foods. A ramification of this is companies, they choose these places because they make higher profits off of places that are high economic, high standing areas. Because when I go to Glendale, I see Whole Foods, I see just about any place where I can get food. But in other places across the globe, for example, you go to a baker, I don't see that many food places anywhere. Just a couple years ago we had a Ralph's, and now we don't have it anymore in Sun Valley. But the main reason, the thing with these foods, these non-organic foods, is they're being sprayed with pesticides. They tend to protect the crops, but why does it protect the crops but not protect us? With these pesticides, all they bring is poison to our bodies. They bring birth defects and cancer and infections into our bodies and into the bodies of future children. Oh. Okay. All of this impacts us as CSUN students because we don't have the access to all this affordable food, and the food that's sold at campus, let's face it, it's not healthy, it's unaffordable, it's not good at all. And it impacts people in California because in California there are a good amount of people who don't live where they can buy food. And those who have to deal with pesticides too. Children are affected by that because they tend to eat more food than us adults. And people who live in agriculture just have to deal with breathing all that in to their bodies. And what concerns me so much about this is California is the number one food provider by the by the USDA Economic Research Database. Why is it that there are food deserts in El Monte, Compton, and Inglewood, but if we are the number one food providers across the world, why are there food deserts around those areas and other areas in California? And yeah, we provide the most food compared to Iowa, Texas, and other states across the world. We should really make change on that, and we should really bring food to those places where people are in need of those foods. And now I'm going to talk about water conservation. But to give you a better information on water conservation, I'm going to pass the mic to Sean.
Thank you, Arthur. So water is a very significant issue, especially in California, where we've been in a drought for the last approximately 15 years. California has always had problems with water shortages, and this definitely isn't a problem that's going away today or anytime in the immediate future. That being said, agriculture plays a major part of this problem. Recent studies from the Pacific Coast Water Initiative indicated that 50% of the water we use is for environmental purposes, 40% is agricultural, and 10% is urban. That being said, 40% of the water we use is for agriculture. An EPA study indicated 60% of this water is subsequently wasted through inefficient farming techniques. 60% of the water we're using on our farming is wasted because we're not using it properly. Water is a finite resource. We only have a certain amount of usable water on the face of the earth. There's nothing we can do to generate water. So if we don't take steps to be more efficient with how we're using it, we're going to run out. Taking shorter showers isn't going to solve the problem. We need to address the problem where it's taking up the bulk of the water usage in the state of California. The majority of the water we use in our state doesn't even come from our state. We heavily rely on Oregon, Washington, Colorado, and Nevada for water so that we can grow food for the rest of the world. That being said, urban farming is a great way to reduce water waste because of how water efficient it is. I'm going to go over to Brie.
Thank you, Sean. As Arthur and Sean addressed earlier, we see the inequity, inequality, and injustice that exists in phenomena such as food deserts and California's current production and distribution methods altogether. We are here today as a group because we are truly passionate about protecting not only the health of our community, but our environment as well. By challenging the current oppressive standards and raising community awareness, we can all be farmers. But first, we need to take the initiative of producing our own healthy organic foods right here in our own backyard of Southern California. Now, I know this may seem like an overwhelming or time-consuming task, but there are multiple ways in which you can get involved, and we'll be demonstrating some later. And before beginning, I want to point out that our overarching theme is to simply utilize any space for the production of food, even the smallest of spaces. So when you think about it, this is something that we can all easily incorporate into our lives, even in the smallest of ways. The first and most important step that we are going to stress here today as a group is to establish, participate, and support your local sustainable urban gardens. And according to Grace Communication Foundations, urban gardens simply refer to the practice of adding edible greens into spaces such as backyards, schoolyards, rooftops, unused buildings, and spaces in urban areas by converting them into local sustainable urban gardens. Now keep in mind that farming does not always need to be in soil or outside in direct sunlight. In fact, there are many simple, sustainable, and soilless options such as aquaponics, hydroponics, and vertical farming that are all extremely efficient and effective methods of farming. All three concepts vary in minuscule ways, however, share the same basic concept. And in a few moments, I'll be handing the mic back over to Sean, who's going to be giving us a demonstration of these three types of farming. Overall, these methods are truly phenomenal and can change the face of farming for many ways and for many different reasons. According to CEO and co-founder of Bowery Farms, Irving Fain, these methods of agriculture use 95% less water and land, absolutely no pesticides, GMO, or agrochemicals. The best part is it can be set up in virtually any space and yield more crop per food cycle. meaning it grows food much more faster than traditional methods. Methods such as aquaponics is a simple style of farming that I have utilized in my own backyard for about the past year and a half now. And if you direct your attention to our poster board over here, the bottom left is the image of my system the first day that it was up and running. Aquaponics is simply the raising of fish and the soilless growing of plants together in an integrated harmonic system. It is completely self-sufficient and sustaining. It provides its own nutrients, edible plants, and fish. My favorite part about this method is it not only brings the resources into the areas and to the families who need it the most, but it also brings fresh, locally raised, sustainable, organic fish, which is a term that either does not exist or that we don't hear very often. Sustainable urban farming is an innovative yet simple style of farming that comes in a variety of shapes, sizes, and ways to get involved. And here to demonstrate the three styles of farming that we mentioned earlier is Sean.
Thank you, Rebecca. So as you can see here, we have three different models. We have our vertical farming model, we have our hydroponic model, and we have our aquaponics model. So first I'm going to start off with our vertical farming model. So as you can see, the vertical farming model is incredibly simple. It starts out with a PVC pipe. This is actually 3-inch PVC pipe that I've drilled holes in. They're 2-inch holes. So the premise of vertical farming is that you fill this PVC pipe with soilless media, which is, it's kind of like microbeads in the sense that you're not using dirt to farm. So you're going to place your plants, you'll have like saplings, and you place them in these cutouts within the PVC pipe. Then at the base of the pipe, you actually have this little, I used a pot. And you can either have a water pump to circulate water up through the system, or you can go something as simple as a 1-gallon jug. For the sake of this model, I put a 1-gallon bottle at the top, and this will just ensure water flow down the entire system. The nice thing about vertical farming is it's incredibly space efficient, it's super simple, and it's incredibly inexpensive. As far as space efficiency, because it's all vertical and there's no horizontal to it, you can put this anywhere. You can put this in the corner of a room, you can put this on the edge of the balcony, and you have a lot of space and a lot of acreage for farming, while not taking up too much actual real estate. As far as simplicity, I drilled this out in about 10 minutes. I went down to Home Depot, I bought a drill bit, I borrowed a drill, I drilled all these holes out, then I returned the drill bit. So I literally paid nothing other than the cost of the PVC and the actual cost of the pot. As far as inexpensive, the PVC pipe was a little pricey. I actually got mine off of Frankie Works Construction, but I looked it up and the cost of this at Home Depot for the entire system, including the pot, was $25. So all in all, not too steep. Well, another thing to notice, this is soilless farming, so this doesn't involve any of the costs or maintenance like fertilizers and plant additives to keep the soil enriched. You don't need to worry about altering crops out so as not to deplete vital nutrients in the soil. Last but not least, this is an incredibly versatile style of farming, so you can grow almost anything within this structure. Now I would like to move on to our hydroponic model, using the same 6 criteria as earlier. Hydroponics is even simpler than the vertical farming. Essentially, as you can see here, I have this tough box. You fill it up with water, you put a top plate on it. You can use cardboard, you can use wood, you can use plastic. You get this medium on top, and then you just drill holes in that as well. And you're going to have your plants actually growing and sitting on this top plate with their roots dangling down into the water. Fill the tough box with water, and that's about it. You're good to go, and you start growing. This, while not as space efficient as vertical farming, is still really space efficient because you can grow everything in this tough box. As far as simplicity, this is the most simple out of all 3 systems because you literally get a storage bin and put a top plate on it. If you want to be real creative, you can even just close the lid to the tough box and drill holes in that and have that be your base plate. It actually works really well, and I tried it. And the nice thing about that is you can open up your top lids and you can see the roots to all the plants without having to worry about moving anything. So it's an entirely self-contained system. It also helps prevent water spills in case you want to have this in your living room, which you can completely do. As far as inexpensive, this tough box cost me $10, and that's the entire cost of the system. You have $10 plus whatever you want to put on top, which can literally be almost a piece of paper. Once again, this is also a soilless farming. The nice thing about this is soilless farming media can be a little expensive, but this doesn't even use soilless media. This is just water. And then last but not least, versatility. You can, once again, Just like vertical farming, anything you can grow in this hydroponic system. Last but not least, I want to go over to the most complicated of the mock-ups we have here, which is an aquaponic system. Aquaponics works by establishing an aquarium at the bottoms where you have your fish living, and you're going to pump up the water into this top box, which is where you're going to have your soilless media and your plants growing. Over here on this top box, you can actually see this little hole I've drilled out, and this is an overflow medium. So what you do is the water gets pumped up from the aquarium into the top box with your plants. Because you have soilless media instead of dirt, you don't have to worry about water saturation. So when the water rises, it's going to pour out of the spout. In the way down, it gets aerated, and then it feeds back down into the aquarium. So you always have aeration, so you don't need an aerator for your aquarium, and you don't need to worry about water overflow because all you have is the water that's in the system. Essentially, the way the system works is you feed the fish, and the fish feces gets pumped up to the top and is used as a natural fertilizer for your plants. At this point, the plants provide oxygen to the earth as well. And then as the water's coming back down, you have the aeration coming down. All you have to do is occasionally put some water in and a little bit of fish food, and you're done. Going back to our 6 performance measures, while this is the least space efficient out of the 3, because it's vertical, it still takes up minimal space. As you can see here, I actually have the 2 tough boxes, one on top of the other, and they stack, which is perfect, and that's not an issue. As far as simplicity, while this is the most complicated, I still could put this together in about 20 minutes, and it literally involves drilling one hole and putting a cap in there. As far as inexpensive, once again, this is kind of the higher end of the 3, but I still bought everything, including the pump, for about $28, so it's not too steep at all. You can use this for soilless as well as traditional farming if you need to. So you can use aquaponic systems with regular dirt for traditional farming. And as far as versatility, this is by far the most versatile out of all 3 systems because you can grow your plants in the top, but you also have a whole aquarium at the bottom for all of your fish to develop. So you get all of the proteins and all of the vitamins from the fish, and you have everything from the plants on top. And you don't have to worry about mercury in the fish or any of the other byproducts associated with traditional fishing or agriculture production. Will now be followed by Rebecca.
Alrighty. We're going to be talking about 3 different organizations we have aligned ourselves with. The first organization we have aligned ourselves with is the Acta Non Verba, and they elevate life in the inner city by challenging opposing dynamics and environments through urban farming. They inspire people for wellness, education, improving quality of life in Elmhurst, through farming beds, cooking classes, and food pantry and garden installation. When I was checking on their website, I was looking upon their mission, and one of the founders who started this organization, when she was planting a garden with her daughter, she had a thought in her mind, and with that thought, with people around her community, they decided to start a garden near food deserts. We have chosen this organization because, first of all, as I said before, we believe that we are all farmers. And this organization helps with our cause because they farm and they choose to farm and help the community. And they also believe in what they say because the founder did do just that with people in her community. We have 2 more organizations we're going to talk about, and in order to give you more insight on the 2 other organizations to help you get involved with farming, I'm going to pass the mic to Bree.
Thank you, Arthur. Let me start off with an organization that is right here on our very own campus. And then I will share about another organization that is off campus in which you can also get involved. We have a food garden right here on campus located on the northeast side between the baseball and softball fields and directly behind the Northridge Academy High School. It was established to educate students about food gardening techniques and ways in which we can make healthier food choices. with more than 400 square feet of raised beds, over a dozen fruit trees, a low-water irrigation system, all built and managed by students, faculty, and volunteers. The garden continues to grow and continues to thrive. For my professors out there, if you teach a class related to sustainability, or even if you just want to bring your class outdoors to learn more about the production of organic food, you may contact them at sustainability@csun.edu for more information on bringing your class to the garden. Now, as for my students, you are welcome to do your service learning hours with the Institute for Sustainability, and you can find out more on their service learning page. Also, if you are interested in volunteering at the food garden, you can find out more on the Student Opportunities page or register directly on the CSUN Food Garden website. In addition, there is an organization called Urban Farming where they help you jumpstart planting your very own garden. Their goal is to create an abundance of food for people who are in need by establishing the use of gardens on unused land while creating an economically sustainable system to help uplift communities around the globe. According to their bio, in helping to achieve their goals, they address the need for emergency food relief by supporting existing urban farming community gardens for free food for the community and encourage people to grow their own food at home. A program within this organization is called the Urban Farming 100 Million Families and Friends Global Campaign. What is this campaign, you ask? Well, it was devised to encourage 100 million people to plant and register their gardens as part of the Urban Farming Global Food Chain, which empowers people who are unemployed, underemployed, laid off, malnourished, have unhealthy diets, suffer from hunger, or food insecurity. You can register your garden right on their website at urbanfarming.org/movement. We believe that this organization is a good one for us all to be a part of because many of the areas that they serve are located in food deserts, which is an issue that we previously talked about earlier, that we are also trying to help solve. To get involved, you can register your garden, a planter box, or farm to join the Urban Farming Global Food Chain map. In fact, there is one between Nordhoff and White Oak Avenue, and there are several other gardens throughout Northridge, Granada Hills, and Chatsworth. And just think, you have the opportunity to be a part of this global community by bettering yourselves, bettering your food, and bettering your community. As we can all see, growing healthy food that everyone has access to is a significant issue nationwide and right here in our own community of Southern California.
We hope that you see the value, ease, and benefits of sustainable urban farming, and that if a lack of food is a problem within the state, we can only believe that it could be a much larger issue across the world.
Lack of access to affordable organic food is a major problem in this country and is almost a blight on this nation. That's why we stand so firmly behind our mission statement and our motto, we are all farmers.
Yes, we are all farmers, so together, let's reclaim farming. We can challenge the oppressive standards and the injustice that exist in food deserts and farming practice all together by simply supporting your local, sustainable urban garden and bringing community awareness. So today, we are here as a group to challenge you to get involved and take the initiative to grow our foods, to grow our communities, and to finally grow our nation. Thank you.
Tell Professor Beatty thank you for that speech.
I wish.
I'm praying to God. Did it keep going?